about housing, and you use the word Lagos is a truly mega city, and I wonder if you have that at the back of your mind when you talk about bringing back Okada. And you even wrote recently on an Okada, people would want to call that political stunt. Do we need Okadas in a mega city we're trying to build?
You need to go out of, maybe to go out of Lagos metropolis, go to the Alimoshos, go to Isolo, and see how, and see where the majority of our people live in Lagos, where they come from, where there's no transportation, where there are no roads. So definitely, a very straight answer, you still need Okada in Lagos.
And
so I never said...
And the state hasn't banned it in those places, because we've been to so many of those places, but they say specific areas like highways and some of those business areas.
I think there are two issues. There are two issues with the Okada. The first one is how they were handled. I will say again that there were states, many states have banned Okada in some areas, but the way they were handled was very different. Even in an APC state, you had states where they banned Okada, but they brought them in, and it was like, look, we'll get you taxis, for example. We can't get everybody taxis, but we can begin the process. So there's that human aspect to it, as different from, you know what, you're no longer wanted here, you get lost, and we take your motorcycles, we'll crush them. There was this insensitivity, to it. That was one. Secondly, you need to engage the people. You need to engage this category of people. So that I wrote on Okada was that, yes, I'm associating with them and saying, we're not going to ban Okada, but we're going to agree, we're going to sit down and agree on how we're going to work. In a way, I've never said that the expressway, but even abroad, when you do ban something, say on the expressway, there are issues that you have to raise. If you go to some streets abroad and they say there's no private vehicle allowed on this main street, but they will allow you, bearing in mind that you may need to cross from one side to the other, they would allow you right of passage to cross once you're not going along it. These are some of the things that we need to begin to look at in ensuring, because it's not so much the Okada, it's the inconvenience even on the people.
Okay,
when you saw me, and that's why you saw that, my understanding with the guy who was going to carry me was, you know what, we're going to use the crash helmet. I'm not going to ride on your Okada without a crash helmet, and you're not going to ride on this Okada without you putting on a crash helmet. So we're saying it's a matter of engaging ourselves and saying we can sit down and work this together, rather than be dictatorial about it and have a one-sided thing.
The states did actually say they engaged them. They spoke with them about it for a while, and then they also relied on statistics, crime rates. They said, look, when they restricted their movement to certain areas, the crime rate dropped. And then I think the governor, if I remember, also did say at the time they looked at the hospital rate, the rate at which people were getting injured.
Crime rate,
it dropped.
Crime rate
when they restricted.
Would not be the issue.
But they said there were statistics.
The accidents, accidents definitely. If you're moving people off the expressway, motorcycles off the expressway, of course the statistics will go down in terms of accidents, and nobody's disputing that. And that's what I'm saying. That look, we've got to sit down and say, we've got to agree that there's some areas that it's just not in your interest. I'm not going to allow, I'm not going to expect an Okada person to say he wants to be riding on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
But it was done.
Yeah, I'm saying.
These are things that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
What I do know, I know that in Lagos, this is from what I followed. Mm-hmm. I know that in Lagos there was a process. Initially, there was the helmet campaign. It was that people had to wear their helmets. It would seem that after a while it will catch on, and then after a while people go back to their same old way. Or they came up with all sorts of funny-looking helmets. You know, there was that phase, and then there was a time when the conversation actually started. We saw under the pavilion the governor or the government engaging Okada riders as to what was expected of them, and then later on we also saw, what eventually led to the restriction, the Lagos state government has called it, of this. I'm just wondering what you would do different, what you faulted in that particular process.
That's what I'm saying. The process was not right. The process was not a two-way understanding. It was a one-way understanding. That's the first thing. The second thing is that, you know, in fact, that's the major thing, that you've got to, when you're dealing with the people, you must agree. You must understand what is happening. A situation where you say that you're working in the interest of the citizens, and the citizens do not buy in, whether you're right or wrong, they don't buy in, means that there's something wrong with the way you're selling this idea.
Do you also appreciate the fact that, you know, when you're saying that people's lifestyles will need to change, even for their own good, it could pose some difficulty initially, and that might lead to its non-acceptance initially. And eventually, perhaps when they begin to see the gains, they see that, you know, it was of better benefit to them than.
Well, we've run this now for what? 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. 2, 3 years? Are we getting results?
You obviously don't enter Okada all the time.
Let's move on to this next one.
I've only been stopped from. I've used Okada many times.
Okay.
It's only in recent times that people have said, no, we can't. No, I don't have a problem with Okada. I used the motorcycle in my university days. So
Don Kasumu says,